Deleting instances of Kontakt in FL Studio doesn't give you all your memory back. It has a residual effect. So if we look here, we're at 765 megabytes in a totally new blank session. Let's write that down. That's from having no instances of Kontakt whatsoever in the session. Let's go ahead and load one. Now, I have two. This one is a bridged version, and this one is a non-bridged. We're just going to do non-bridged for the moment. So I'm going to go ahead and load this. And it is going to take up RAM, even though it is a totally blank instance of Kontakt. And this is because it has a bunch of assets that it has to use, right? And it's being loaded into RAM. So if we now take a look at the RAM, we see that FL Studio now takes up 1,136.4 megabytes of memory. So that is, it just dropped a little bit. So we got a little bit back, got a little more effective or whatever. I don't know how it knew to do that. But let's go ahead and delete it now. And we would kind of expect it to go back to the value it was at. We get rid of it. The memory drops, but look, we still lose a whole bunch of RAM. It is not 766. Now we're all the way up to 834.2. So after having one instance deleted, so this is after one instance, we are at 829.5. Let's go ahead and load 5 instances. Okay, I've loaded 5 blank contacts. There is nothing in any of these contacts. And right now the memory has jumped up to 1,477, right? And this is what our memory is sitting at. If I go ahead now and delete these contacts, will we get back to 830? No, we will not. It's now at 870.5. I might be thinking 20 instances is crazy. It's not crazy. If you do cinematic stuff, it's very easy to cross the 60 mark. So knowing how this works and knowing that it doesn't clean out the memory and you have to restart, you can't even just restart the session. You actually have to close FL all the way. If you go to a new session, you'll see the memory still has that amount taken up. It's like permanently taken till you completely close the process. I don't know what's up with their interface too, but it has this weird glitch. And it's the reason why when you take a screenshot of it, it doesn't like render correct. It looks weird. 32 blank instances of Kontakt. And this also shows you that adding instances takes up more memory. Like there's no libraries even loaded. This is just blank instances and the memory climbs. So this is just how it is in FL. And if you think the bridged version is any better, you're totally dead wrong. Bridged is way worse. Bridged takes way more memory as instances climb. So right now we're at 4,804. So that's where we're sitting with 32 instances. Let's go ahead and delete them. So we're going to hit Alt Delete to delete all these channels. We're going to hit OK. Will we get back to 870 or will there be a permanent effect to having these in the session? So look at this. Our memory is now at 1,076. So as you can see, just loading and deleting instances of Kontakt causes there to be permanent RAM removed from your session. So if you get close to the edge of what your computer can handle, this is going to be a permanent loss. Now the question is, if you open up a new session, like you close and reopen it, will that give you your RAM back? So we can see right here, we're at 1,076, hasn't changed. And if we come in, we go to File, we'll go to New. We'll hit No. We're in a completely new file. And look at this. The memory is still completely taken up. You do not get this memory back by doing this. FL, because you never truly closed FL, it's still there. So the only way you're going to get this back is if you totally close it and open it, which I'll do now. Okay, so this is a completely fresh instance, and you can see our memory is back to where it should be. Now, over long sessions, if you're someone who doesn't close your sessions and you leave them open for a long time, this sort of memory accumulation can really bog down your session over time. It is very useful to close it, save it and close it and open it, dang it. It will improve your performance. It'll at the very least save your memory. So if you don't have very much memory, this is a big deal. If you have a lot of memory, it's not a big deal. You also saw how much 32 instances of Kontakt took with a non-bridged version of Kontakt. It was somewhere in the neighborhood of like 4,000 or whatever. Let's see how many 32 instances take when they're bridged. And you might be going, why would you want a bridged one? Well, if you're working in 4K, this is a bridged version, by the way. I actually made a custom thumbnail for this. This had the same issue. This one, I just didn't bother. So this one is bridged. If you open it up, you can see under processing, it's bridged. And you might be going, why do you want bridged? Well, sometimes the interface becomes extremely laggy. Like you'll click something and it won't move. You actually have to close and open Kontakt again. And so making it bridged prevents this issue. But while at the early stages with just one instance, it's not that bad. We've crossed the 50% mark already. We are at 16 instances. We're going to just hit F12. That closes everything, by the way. Bring this back. All right, so this will get us to 32. This is going to take forever, but here we go. There it goes. Man, that was a long time. Holy cow. So we'll just watch the memory climb because it's going to climb pretty high. You can also see this number next to it is increasing. And the other one didn't do that. That's because it's opening them as separate processes. And this is why if you don't have to open a plugin bridged, don't do it. You will save memory and you'll save yourself load time. Also, if you have plugins like Kontakt, if you open up another one, it'll remember in the file browser where you were. If you make it bridged, it won't remember. And that's going to slow you down looking for files. So if you don't have to make it bridged, don't do it. Okay, we've got 32 instances loaded. And if we take a look here, and you can see the memory consumption is just crazy higher. So this is an expense that I can't afford in high instance projects. Like I had a project that I approached, I think it was 40 something instances, and I wanted to add more, but I ran out of memory without realizing it, and all my screens started flickering like crazy. I had to turn off 2 of the screens and then close some background programs to get enough memory to get the screens to calm down. And then I had to like figure out how I was going to do this. So part of it's just closing the session and opening it again. But if you do that with a high memory thing, FL will try to load everything and you may not be able to get the session open for like, I kid you not, a half hour, if you can at all. And if you do that, there are a few steps you can take. If you open up the standalone version of Kontakt, you can go into the file and then to the options, go into memory, and you can override the preload size, which can help, and that can help you get the session open and hopefully get that number down. But you can see this is quite the expense to pay for having it in bridged mode. I am opening a session that takes a lot of memory. There's a lot of contacts, there's a lot of libraries loaded, and you'll watch this memory just soar. And I did optimize it enough to where I can get the session to open, but I'm gonna have to do things to straight up remove contacts from it because just bypassing the plugin doesn't get rid of the RAM usage. And the memory is a memory limit. So if you bounce it, you also have to delete the plugin from the session, or you can have one instance of Kontakt with a bunch of libraries in that one instance, and that takes away the overhead of all the different instances of Kontakt in FL Studio. I'm not sure how it is for other DAWs, but in FL Studio, there's definitely a memory advantage to having less instances. This is the session that crashed my computer spectacularly. Right now we're sitting at 75%. I think I got it using a few tricks. Now that is an instance of Kontakt that has an issue, but as you can see, it's not popping up. So you actually have to go to Alt Tab. Where's that? Oh, it just crashed. Well, that's just awesome. All right, let's try that again. There's one instance of Kontakt that's missing samples, and if the pop-up doesn't show up with the memory so high, sometimes I just can't get to it, and it makes it impossible to work. We just hit 75%. Memory consumption. There's the Kontakt. Do we get the pop-up? We heard it. All right. If we hover over this, when the pop-up eventually decides to show up, it should show up in the little preview window as well. There it is. Oh, called it. All right. So we should be able to click this. And where'd it go? Okay, there it is. Yeah, so it's saying it's missing content. Okay, we're okay with that. Man, things you learn. Okay, it's loaded, but it's frozen. You see up here, this isn't moving. That means don't touch it. Give it a sec. As a reminder, if you want to save the RAM, you can't just click one of these buttons over here to turn the plugin off. That just mutes it or whatever. It doesn't actually get rid of the RAM footprint. You have to render it out and delete it so it's just not loaded. So you might want to save a separate session that just benchmarks where you are. If you can't afford more memory or your system has no ability to upgrade the memory, you're going to have to delete instances, render instances, and then delete them. And you might want to keep an eye on the memory. And this up here isn't the greatest indicator. It gives you no sense of what's going on over here. So once you know your system's limits, you're like, oh, I'm getting a lot of contact. Might be time to start rendering things out and deleting instances and saving session versions as you go. Yeah, getting to this point, by the way, is like a check mark. We're still not loaded. It's still going to be a bit. Our memory has climbed to 86%, which is good. Knowing what I know now, if I had done single instances for groups of instruments, like maybe the strings and the choirs and the percussions, it would be a far more effective session memory-wise. Hot tip if you're in this situation, if you can get an instance to load, and you can get to the purge all samples, this can clear memory, which can help make your session more stable. But getting to that point can be a roll of the dice, especially if you've been sitting here a long time. Oh, we just peeked into the red again. I'm going to click on this instance. It opens. Yeah. Oh, it's highlighting. Things are the. Can I click this? Oh my gosh. Okay. Can we get to the plugin? It's complaining about the missing samples. That's fine. We're going to go to File, and then we're going to go to Purge All Instances, Purge All Samples. This clears the memory out of everything. And I was at 96. We just dropped down to 80. But FL Studio won't let you get to this dang menu until everything's loaded. I really, really wish there was a way to tell it, don't load everything, and to start with purged samples. That would be amazing. It would solve opening problematic sessions like this. But we can see here, there's where the memory's at with this fix. Now, if I open up one of these instances, and right now I save them in this state because this opens up faster than the actual state. If I click, sometimes the GUI is just totally unresponsive. And as you begin to play things, it may become less unresponsive. And going to bridged mode was fixing this for me, which is what got me in this pickle in the first place. I updated my GPU drivers, if you use an NVIDIA card, to the studio versions, and I think it's fixed this. So I've actually just went and bought more RAM. I'm just going to upgrade my system so I can keep going. But if I didn't do that, the solution would be to just render these things out and delete these instances. And that would save me the memory. See, right now it's at 75%, but everything's purged. As soon as I hit play, it's going to start loading things in. Then it'll be optimized, but it still won't be extremely workable. Now, some instruments, it's not the same per instrument. Some instruments, especially the more recent ones, if we load up one of these, you'll notice the engine, it just looks sharper on a 4K screen. and it's way smoother. But older instruments, if we're going to load something from like, this is from a decade ago. I'm not sure how old the Cage series is at this point, but it's pretty old. And the interface, the methods they use to write to the interface must somehow call up legacy code. And so it's just not as smooth. Like the switch in between. I mean, this is actually great right now. Before there was a enormous difference between the library. So GPU drivers may be something to look at if you're having issues with that. If you have any other tips or optimizations, let me know. I have done things with security where you give them special permissions to bypass scans, which helps open Kontakt in a more reasonable amount of time. Like that's about as quick as I can get it right now. I can't get it any faster than that. But I would love to know any additional optimizations you may have or recommend. I've tried a lot of things for the record. I have tried all kinds of stuff. All the libraries are on SSDs. All the SSDs are connected through ports that can handle the load that they're going through. But if there's some big oversight, I'd like to know where it is so I can fix it. Subscribe and hit that bell icon for future videos, and have a blessed day.